about a team that maybe people aren't thinking. What if he went to Miami? Well, so that brings us to some sneaky big news coming out of South Florida, okay? The Dolphins have to decide whether or not to pick up Tua Tagovailoa's fifth-year option this offseason. The deadline to do that is May 1st. And while speaking at the Combine yesterday, their coach Mike McDaniel said the plan is to wait until closer to that deadline. Listen to this.
We'd probably be best served to utilize the time. That's kind of the way we're approaching it, but that doesn't mean that we're spending any long period of time not discussing it. This is something that Chris and I have been working through and will continue to work through.
Okay, what did he just say? Like, what was that? We're waiting the time. We think it's a good idea to wait the time, but we're not spending any time, and we're going to work through it. What did he just say?
He just told us that we're not sure about our quarterback based on the health factor, and that we're going to do our due diligence and see what else is out there to be had in the marketplace.
Lamar Jackson to the Miami Dolphins. Can you believe that ESPN is talking about Lamar Jackson signing with the Miami Dolphins? That's pretty wild, but who knows? But I can tell you the guys are right about Mike McDaniel. Much to the chagrin of people who believe that every word from a GM or a coach is gospel, coaches lie. We're watching the ultimate game of high-stakes poker being played out right in front of us. And most fans usually don't get a seat at the table. But you know what doesn't lie? The calendar. Here's some dates you may want to mark on your calendar. Free agency opens up on March 13th. The NFL draft is on April 27th. Tua's deadline is May 1st. Everyone in the league, and I do mean everyone in the league, teams, players, coaches, GMs, they all know those immutable dates. And every organization has one mindset, that mindset being to put the best possible team on the field that they can afford. And at the same time, every player who's up for a contract renegotiation or free agency is trying to cut the best possible deal for themselves. Could Lamar Jackson end up with the Miami Dolphins? I doubt it. It sounds intriguing, but with no real draft picks available and really no money in the salary cap to afford a $200+ million guaranteed contract, it seems unlikely. I just don't see it happening, but you never know. But what we do know is that there are a ton of chess pieces being moved on the board these days. And we also, as I said, know the firm dates on the calendar. Let's continue with the guys from Get Up.
The only reason why they're not exercising Tua's fifth-year option immediately is because they're not sold on him. When you know you have a franchise quarterback, a guy that you can trust, that's going to be healthy and available and help you contend at a championship level, you don't waste time locking them up because it only gets more expensive. You pay franchise quarterbacks sooner rather than later. If you don't believe me, just ask the Baltimore Ravens and what they're going through with Lamar.
He's absolutely right. There is nothing that's stopping the Miami Dolphins, if they really wanted to do so, locking Tua up right now. There's no regulation. They could offer him a deal right now. Now, there may be some other things going on. Maybe Tua is asking for more money than they're willing to shell out. But other than that, there is no reason to wait. If you want him and he's your guy, go ahead and sign him. Let's go back.
The fact that they don't want to exercise the fifth-year option, that they want to take their time and run this all the way up to May, is because they want to see what else is available this offseason and whether or not they can solidify the quarterback position and not have as much uncertainty with their guy going into the season.
Yeah,
He's absolutely right. Miami Dolphins fans don't want to accept that, but there is no other reason. There is no other reason why, if he was truly the guy you wanted as QB1, you were definitive on that. You've told everybody he's 100% your guy. Okay, well then put the paper in front of him and let Tua sign it. You are shopping. Let's understand that right now. The Miami Dolphins are shopping. You're trying to see what their options are. Remember, March 13th, free agency. April 27th, NFL draft. Tua's deadline is May 1st. They can get it done right now. They're choosing not to.
It's not about how he plays when he plays.
No.
It's about how much he doesn't play, unfortunately, which has been the question mark on him going back to college.
Yeah, the last time he was fully healthy for a complete season was 2018.
Think about what he just said. 2018 was the last time that Tua has been fully healthy and played an entire season. That's 5 years ago. 5 years have passed since Tua has been able to play a full season. Every player, every coach, every GM all know that your best ability is availability. There's a value to that. Every history that every Dolphins fan is looking at is what he did earlier in the year and how spectacular the offense looked. What other people are looking at is his body of work, his history. It's been 5 years since Tua has been able to stay healthy. 5 years.
He hadn't been healthy. He hadn't been healthy since he's been in the National Football League.
Jeff, go.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that then. Like, if we're saying under one breath, basically, that he has been injured and they need to find out about the durability, and in the second breath, we're saying that, oh, why are they not doing this? It's like, maybe it's just a good business move.
Bingo. It's all about business. Fans are being fans. Fans are in the fandom. Many are in the cult. The Miami Dolphins right now are articulating good business. They're trying to see what their options are. Of course, they're going to tell the press certain things. They're not going to play poker in public. You have to understand, this is a huge business move.
If they don't pick up the fifth-year option, you could make a case that, look, they don't expect him to play on the fifth-year deal anyway. If he has a successful season, they'll extend him after it no matter what. He won't play under that fifth year. And if he doesn't, they can just move on. I'm not saying they will or won't extend his fifth-year option. Clearly, it's a contemplation. But I don't think there has to be this greater meaning to it other than, hey, we're going to sign him to a long-term deal if he succeeds. And if not, we move on.
That's it. You either play or you don't. You either succeed or you don't. Either way, whatever deal we sign is going to have conditions in it because of your health history. And if you make it, fantastic. You make money, we win games. If you don't, we'll move on from you.
I think it's prudent business. I think it's just smart.
Well, I think that's right. I don't know that we're necessarily saying different things. I think that we don't ask that question in Cincinnati, and we don't ask that question with the Chargers.
Nope.
I don't anticipate us asking that question in Jacksonville.
We don't ask it with the Eagles, who's also in that class.
You know, and
notice the NFL players sitting there all nodding. You're not asking us about Joe Burrow. You're not asking these questions about Justin Herbert, even though people say he's a social media quarterback and Dolphins fans hate Justin Herbert. We're not asking these questions about him. We're not asking it about Jalen Hurts. The questions are being asked about Tua because of his health.
The reality is that what you're saying, Jeff, and what we're saying is the Dolphins need to see something before they can make up their minds. You put those things together. You put the uncertainty that's going on in Baltimore, and you want to look for an offensive genius. I mean, Mike McDaniel, right? He's that kind of guy, right? He's one of these offensive. You give him, and Nico, you were just talking about it. You give him Lamar Jackson. I know there are injury concerns with Lamar, but they're nothing compared to the injury concerns with their current quarterback.
That's what people keep missing. They're comparing Lamar Jackson's injury history with that of Tua's. Tua's is in the head. Tua hurt his brain. It's not a knee injury. It's not a thigh injury. It's not an arm injury. Those are things that you can rehabilitate. There's not a lot you can do about being susceptible to concussions. I know we've been told by certain people that you're not. Every NFL player that you've ever talked to will say, yeah, you are. So it's just a matter, again, high stakes poker. That's also a chip on the owner's side. Hey, listen, we don't know what's going to happen, man. So we're not sure we can pay you this kind of money. What happens if you go down again? Nobody knows.
I'm putting two and two together here. What am I getting?
So I think it comes down to what the Ravens are going to do as far as the tag options. And, you know, if it's the non-exclusive, then if you're another team, you have to give up a lot. I mean, you're going to have to pay Lamar a lot of guaranteed money because we know where his stance is there. You know, 2 first-round draft picks, that's a lot. That's a huge amount to lose. And on the backside of that, you know, what if those first-round picks turn into, you know, top 10 picks, right? So I don't know. I just think that if you're the Miami Dolphins right now, first you got to figure out the quarterback that you have. You have to figure out what's up with Tua. If Tua's not available, if he's not going to be there for us, what do we have to give up to get Lamar? Because if you're the Ravens, you're making sure that if Lamar is not your quarterback, that another team has to give up a lot.
No, that's the poison pill. Miami Dolphins don't have draft picks. They're not going to have the salary cap space to go ahead and pay $200 million unless they go ahead and renegotiate a whole lot of stuff. And I don't know if you want to put all that money into one player. So that's the poison pill. I think Baltimore Ravens are sitting in a catbird seat, and no one's going to want to give them that kind of money unless they've got an extreme amount of cap space available and 2 first-round draft picks for, as you know, a guy who's also been hurt. 2 first-round draft picks and a couple $100 million guaranteed is what it's going to cost to get Lamar Jackson. That's why I think it's a long shot. However, as you're going to hear, 2 first-round draft picks isn't a ton of money.
Well, Jeff, I felt like you were disagreeing. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, I truly respect the way the Dolphins are going about this with Tua. I think that they're really trying to handle it. They recognize what he's done. They're trying to do this the right way. But if Tua had just a bad year, stayed healthy and just had a bad year, Lamar Jackson to the Dolphins would be the most obvious slam dunk in the world. He is a South Florida guy. He would be running in Mike McDaniel's system with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. This team would be on their way to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they'll ever be able to wrap their head around it and move on from Tua and do something for Lamar. But
he's right. That part right there is what drives everyone crazy. If Tua had sucked, if he didn't play like he played, this would be a no-brainer. And now you're sitting there going, oh God, what do we do? We got this kid that shows flashes of brilliance when he's available, but at the same time, I can't run a business based upon when he's available. I need somebody out there. And so it's just like this gift of the Magi type thing. Here's a great quarterback, but he can't be on the field for the whole season. What do we do? That's the dilemma. It's almost like they wish, man, I wish the guy sucked last year. It'd be a no-brainer decision, but he didn't suck. He balled out. He played lights out all the time while he was on the field. He was an MVP candidate, and then boom, the bomb hit.
I'm just telling you right now, this makes more sense to me than anything else when we talk about Lamar Jackson going to a football team.
I like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, I mean, I'm sure Lamar Jackson wouldn't mind going back home to play pro football, but I mean, if Lamar Jackson is on the Miami Dolphins, you are talking about the fastest offense in NFL history. That's what you're looking at.
For sure.
I mean, they would rival the greatest show on turf, the 2013 Denver Broncos. Like, you're talking about them being that level of explosive. And I'll say this, 2 future first-round draft picks for Lamar to lock in certainty at quarterback for the next decade, not a big price to pay.
They have not figured it out at quarterback, Nick.
2 first-round draft picks for a quarterback basically in his prime that you'll lock down for the next 10, 12 years isn't a lot. So what we're looking at right now is just a dilemma. Do you want to gamble and feel that Tua can be on the field for an entire season? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be okay next year, the year after that? That's what there's no crystal ball, and that's what makes it most difficult for the Miami Dolphins right now, is because they're passing on a lot of opportunities. They could have went after Derek Carr. They could have went after Aaron Rodgers. They could go after Lamar Jackson. And you're passing on all these, one, because of money, but number 2, you've got a guy who has shown a propensity to ball out and be MVP elite caliber quarterback if he can stay on the damn field. What do you do?
If you give up 2 first-round picks plus $250 million fully guaranteed and he has some type of injury, what do you got?
See, that's my problem with what Deshaun Watson got. You completely skewed the salaries. You completely skewed everything by having these insane guaranteed contracts. You're telling me you're going to lock somebody down for $230 million, $250 million, guaranteed money, who could come out first game of the season and blow out a knee. How is that equitable? How is that even sane to do? I don't see how this stuff continues. I think the owners are going to have to pull back. I know they'll get accused of being in collusion, but this has to stop. It really has to stop. These guaranteed contracts make absolutely no sense. Imagine if Tua was on a guaranteed contract right now. What if they didn't have any physical or injury exclusions in his contract? That's what you're looking at moving forward. These guys, these quarterbacks in the NFL are looking for guaranteed money, and some of them are actually getting it. Until these owners pull back the reins and say, no, we're not playing this craziness, this insanity with you guys anymore, it's going to continue. So what do you think? Is there a possibility of Lamar Jackson coming to the Miami Dolphins, does it even make this much sense? Probably to most fans it doesn't, but obviously if they could swing the money, and if Baltimore screws up this thing with Lamar Jackson in their negotiations, it could happen. It very well could happen. Will it? We have no idea. Just remember those 3 dates. Circle them on your calendar. March 13th, free agency. April 27th, NFL draft. May 1st to his deadline. And then couch everything you see and everything you hear based upon those dates on the calendar. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?